It is official. Gerrit Cole needs Tommy John surgery. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Tuesday, March 11th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Chris Towers, and like we suspected yesterday, Gerrit Cole does need Tommy John surgery. We got that confirmation. That means he will miss all of this upcoming season and probably the first half of next season as well. He turns 35 years old in September. No guarantee he returns to form. We have seen pitchers that old return and still be pretty good, but it's just a pretty big unknown for Gerrit Cole at this point in his career. And it sucks. I mean, he's one of the best pitchers of this generation. A big blow for those who have him in Dynasty and Keeper Leagues. It's a big blow for the Yankees as well. It feels like they do need to make a move at some point here, but as of now, the rotation that they're rolling with, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Clark Schmidt, Marcus Stroman, and one of Will Smith or Carlos Carrasco. Chris, in deeper leagues, you play in AL only. Do either of those guys matter? Carlos Carrasco, Will Warren?
Yeah, Will Warren more so than Carrasco. On the full episode of the podcast, we were talking to Nick Pollock, and he brought up a good point that because Warren has options and Carrasco is just on a regular contract, they might just decide to go with Carrasco just because if they don't, he can just turn down being sent to the minors and they just lose him. So it wouldn't be shocking if they did that, but Warren's the higher upside play. And there have been times in his minor league career where he's put up really good numbers. 2024 was not one of those times. He made 28 starts between AAA and the majors. He had a 10.32 ERA at the major league level and a 5.91 ERA at AAA. The ERA at AAA might actually be more concerning, frankly, but there is some strikeout upside. He's been pretty consistently in the high 20s in strikeout rate. So I don't want to say that there's nothing interesting going on here because I do think Will Warren, has been a top 100-ish prospect throughout his minor league career. There are things to like. It's just in a 12-team league, certainly he's got to show me something before I buy in at all.
All right, we did get some other updates as well. Orioles manager Brendan Hyde said that Gunnar Henderson is progressing well, but remains unsure for opening day. I know that Jackson Holliday has been starting at shortstop just in case Gunnar is not ready to go on opening day. Chris, are you still looking to draft Gunnar Henderson in the late first round or starting to push him down even lower?
Yeah, no, I'm still open to it. I picked 9th in a 14-team league on Monday night, and he actually went before my pick, but I was willing to take him if he had fallen. And look, if he falls to the second round, would love to have Gunnar Henderson on my team because, look, it's not great that his spring training has been disrupted by an intercostal strain, but nothing about this sounds like it's going to, linger beyond the next couple of weeks. And he's a top 6 or 7 player when he's right. So I'll take the discount on Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah, in 89 NFBC drafts in the month of March, he has dropped down to the 9th overall player, going behind Ohtani, Bobby Witt Jr., Aaron Judge, Ellie De La Cruz, Jose Ramirez, Juan Soto, Corbin Carroll, who's been climbing a little bit, and Kyle Tucker. I was in a draft on Monday night, and Gunnar went 8th overall in my draft. I had 7th pick, and I actually took Kyle Tucker over him. So maybe I'll regret that, but Kyle Tucker feels like a really, really good player as well.
Yeah, so. And no worries about Kyle Tucker having a bad spring. It's 20 at-bats or something. No concerns there. I would take Mookie Betts ahead of him among the players you didn't mention, just for what it's worth.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Dive into the biggest moments from the big dance with NCAA March Madness Bracket Breakdown, Sunday on CBS Sports Network.
Welcome back in FBT Express, going over the latest headlines in spring. Nico Hoerner will play in minor league games while the Cubs are in Japan. The plan remains for him to be ready for the domestic opener here on March 27th, I believe it is. He is recovering from flexor tendon surgery. And if Nico Hoerner's ready for opening day, granted, I think we still expect him to get off to a slow start coming back from surgery, but we might be getting him at a massive discount. His ADP in March is 206.8. He's going behind Brandon Lau, Jackson Holliday, and Michael Garcia.
Yeah, speed is easy to find in drafts these days, but batting average definitely isn't. And even in a somewhat down year, he hit 273 last year. I think he's going to be a very good source of batting average. And when you're getting him that late, it's either as your middle infielder or as a bench bat. And so that makes it really easy to weather the slow storm. And there are, Dansby Swanson goes in a similar range if you're worried about not having Nico Hoerner ready for the start of the season or off to a slow start. There are going to be replacement options you can look for to fill that middle infield spot. And yeah, I think Nico Hoerner anywhere outside of the top 200 is going to be a great value.
All right. Speaking of, moving over to the Dodgers, Dave Roberts said that Dustin May makes a lot of sense as the team's fifth starter. Apparently, Tony Gonsolin had a little hiccup with his back while lifting weights. So Dustin May is in to the rotation. He's been pitching this spring. He's looked a lot like Dustin May. And you mentioned we had Nick Pollock on the Full Length podcast. He was in on Dustin May. Chris, are you also in here?
Yeah, I think Dustin May, the comp that I wanted to make on the show is there's some Sandy Alcantara there where the stuff is so good that you wonder why he doesn't get more strikeouts, but he pitches to contact in a way that feels sustainable because he generates so much weak contact. Hitters have such a hard time getting the barrel of the bat on the ball that even though the strikeout rate is probably going to be closer to average, he should still work through lineups well. He should still keep the ERA pretty low. And obviously, pitching for the Dodgers, he's going to have a good chance for wins every time he goes out. So Dustin May is someone who should be drafted in pretty much all leagues at this point.
We went over some StatCast data on the Full Length podcast. One that really stood out to me was Shota Imanaga. The velocity was down quite a bit. He gave up 4 runs, 2 home runs, which, he could be prone to those at times being a fly ball pitcher. But Chris, are you worried at all about the velocity being down pretty big? I mean, we're talking 2-3 miles per hour for Shota Imanaga in his latest start here.
I can't say I'm too worried in as much as I'm already kind of worried about Imanaga. I flirted with putting him on my bust list, and it mostly just comes down to the fact that he has such a unique approach. There are not many pitchers at the major league level who are sub 6 foot, throw left-handed, throw from the arm angle he does, and throw splitters the way he does. So it just, part of my concern there is that he took the league by surprise a little bit as a rookie, and the second go round, teams get another look at him. They're a little more familiar. It might not go as well. I don't love seeing the velocity down. He doesn't have a huge margin for error there anyway, but the shape is still good that I think he can live at 90 and survive. It's just, I already don't expect a repeat of last season. This just kind of helps that cause, I guess.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.